The wait is almost over. We are finally approaching that time of year when the buzz of NBA basketball takes over everything. And while preseason action has already tipped off around the league, fans in Boston are still counting down the hours until the Celtics finally hit the court. Their first matchup is set for Wednesday, and it comes against a Memphis Grizzlies team that, frankly, has been through the ringer. Injuries keep piling up in Memphis, and it feels like every time a trade target is mentioned from that roster, the guy ends up hurt, Brandon Clark being the latest example. Still, Celtics fans aren't too concerned about the Grizzlies' depth chart right now. The focus is all on finally seeing how this new-look Boston squad comes together when the lights go on. October 6th marks 15 days until the NBA regular season officially begins. Just 16 days away from the Celtics facing the Sixers in what will be their true test to kick off the season. And even though there's already been training camp buzz, media day energy, and some early signs of chemistry, we still know very little about how this group is going to function over the grind of a full season. That's what makes this preseason feel more important than most. There are real questions to answer, rotations to settle, and roles to define. For a team that made some major shakeups in the offseason, those answers are going to come fast. All eyes are on Joe Mazzulla and how he handles the pressure in year two. Last year, let's be honest, he was thrown into the fire. He didn't get a normal ramp-up to head coaching duties. He was placed into the role unexpectedly, after all the drama with Ime Udoka, and handed a team with championship expectations overnight. Now, to his credit, he had an incredibly talented roster. We're talking about multiple all-star level players, top 10 talents, and depth across positions. But having that kind of roster only increases the pressure to deliver. Fast forward to now, and the expectations are even higher. Not only did the Celtics hold on to their core, but they added even more firepower. Jrue Holiday is in the mix. Kristaps Porzingis is in green. And that means Mazzulla has to figure out how to get the best out of what might be the most talented starting five in the league. But talent doesn't win on its own. It needs structure. It needs trust. It needs buy-in. And that's where we're going to learn whether Mazzulla is just a coach managing stars or a real tactician who can lead a group to the mountaintop. One of the biggest questions going into this season is about development. We've seen what the stars can do, but what about the second unit? What about the young guys who haven't had consistent roles before? This isn't just about who can contribute off the bench for 10 minutes. It's about who can grow into legitimate rotation pieces across an 82-game season and into the playoffs. Can Jaylen Brown, for example, step into the role of a true 1A guy when Jason Tatum isn't at his best? Can he be the emotional and physical leader that carries the team on nights when the shots aren't falling? That transition isn't as easy as it sounds. Brown has always had that aggressive mentality, but he's been able to share the spotlight. There's been an ebb and flow between him and Tatum. Some nights it's JB's team. Other nights he defers. That dynamic has worked in the past, but there's a sense this year that Brown is being challenged to become something more consistent, more dominant. He's not just a co-star. He needs to be the engine, especially in those grinded-out moments when the team needs a spark. And then there's the emergence of Peyton Pritchard, who might be one of the most important storylines to watch this year. The Celtics gave him an extension, showing real confidence in his role moving forward. The question is, can he handle the increased responsibility? 30 minutes a night, primary ball-handling duties, maybe even becoming a legitimate second or third scoring option on certain nights. Pritchard has the confidence, the shooting, and the motor. But does he have the consistency? Derek White, on the other hand, feels like a known quantity. He's the kind of guy every championship team needs. Low maintenance, smart, elite on defense, and he makes plays when it matters. He might not be the flashiest name in the lineup, but he's going to be on the floor in every big moment. He brings the steadiness that this team needs, especially as they work through integrating new pieces and finding the collective rhythm. Speaking of new pieces, the front court is where things start to get complicated. Al Horford is another year older. Porzingis has always battled injury concerns. And suddenly, the Celtics need to figure out whether guys like Nemi Quetta or Xavier Tillman can take meaningful leaps. We're not talking about garbage time minutes. We're talking about actual, pressure-packed rotation minutes against top-tier talent. That's a big ask for young or unproven bigs. Can Quetta become a rim protector that gives Boston flexibility when Horford needs a night off? Can Tillman regain the form that made him a valuable playoff piece in Memphis? And what about deep bench guys like Jordan Walsh or J.D. Davison? Are they just projects, or can they surprise some people? All of that ties back to Mazzulla. His biggest challenge isn't just drawing up plays or managing egos. It's patience. Will he allow these young guys to make mistakes, play through them, and grow into their roles? Or will he fall back on the veterans too quickly, afraid of letting games slip away early in the season? That balance between development and winning now is razor thin. But if he gets it right, the Celtics could end up with a deeper, more versatile roster come playoff time than they've had in years. And based on the reports coming out of training camp, the tone has already been set. This is not a team coasting through October. Practices have been intense, physical, competitive. They're the level of urgency that's been missing in recent years. Players are battling for spots, and there's a real edge to the way this group is preparing. Even Pritchard showed up to a post-practice interview with a gash on his neck, blood dried up, and still answering questions like nothing happened. That's the kind of old-school grit that tells you this team is locking in early. The defensive mindset has been a huge talking point as well. The Celtics aren't just planning to outshoot teams. They want to outwork them, outmuscle them, and turn games into dogfights. It's easy to say that in October, sure. Every team thinks they're tougher in training camp. But the difference is, in Boston, guys are backing it up on the floor, and you can see in how exhausted they've looked after every session. There's a work ethic building behind the scenes that could be the foundation for something special. And that physicality? It's not just a buzzword. Pritchard recently mentioned the Oklahoma City Thunder in a comment that got a little twisted online. He said the Thunder got away with a lot of fouls in the playoffs. Some people took that as shade, but it's not. It's just reality. The NBA please slow down. And the players who understand how to walk that line between aggressive and illegal are the ones who thrive. What Pritchard was really saying is that the Celtics need to prepare now for the kind of physical, no-calls basketball that defines the playoffs. If they can't match that energy, they're going to get left behind again. The truth is, this season feels like a turning point, not just for the Celtics as a team, but for several individual players trying to level up and for Mazzulla himself as a coach. The margin for error is small, but the ceiling is massive. If this group comes together the way it should, there's no reason they can't be the last team standing. But if they stumble out of the gate, say a sluggish 8-20 start, the noise will get loud fast. Trade rumors, coaching critiques, panic. On the flip side, if they start hot, 18-10, 20-8, that momentum could completely shift the way the league views this team and the way the Celtics view themselves. One of the more under-the-radar storylines this offseason has been Jaylen Brown's leadership. After years of sharing the spotlight, sharing responsibility, and often being labeled as the other guy next to Jason Tatum, there's been a noticeable shift in how Brown is carrying himself. From his words during media day to reports out of training camp, it's clear that he's stepping into a more vocal, more intentional leadership role. It's not just about scoring 25 a night anymore. It's about leading the group, setting the tone, and helping to mold this new version of the Celtics into a contender from day one. Brown has reportedly been organizing team-building activities, both on and off the court. That might sound minor, but for a team that just experienced significant turnover, it matters. Gone are the days when you could walk into the gym and count on the same locker room from the previous season. This isn't the same core group that's been together for 5 or 6 years. Between the departures of key role players, shifts in the coaching staff, and front office changes, continuity is no longer a given. That makes chemistry and connection more valuable than ever, and it looks like Brown understands that in a deeper way now. That focus on team connection is showing up in real ways. Peyton Pritchard mentioned recently that nearly the entire roster has been in Boston all summer. That kind of dedication isn't the norm across the NBA, especially for a veteran-heavy team that could have easily taken their time ramping up. Instead, the group committed early to building chemistry, learning the new schemes, and just putting in the work. There's been a hunger in this group, maybe a chip on the shoulder after how last season ended, and that kind of motivation tends to set the tone for everything else. And speaking of motivation, training camp intensity has been next level. Reports suggest this has been one of the toughest, most physical Celtics camps in recent memory. Not just in terms of conditioning, but the level of competition during practices. These guys aren't just going through the motions. They're treating every drill, every scrimmage, like it's mid-season. You've got returning players battling with new faces for real rotation minutes. And that internal competition is pushing everyone. You saw it on Pritchard's face, literally. After a particularly physical practice, he showed up to speak with reporters looking like he just came out of a boxing match. Blood drying on his neck, towel wrapped around his shoulders, still answering questions without hesitation. It was a perfect snapshot of the attitude this team is carrying. No shortcuts, no comfort zone. Just guys going at it, trying to earn their place. That physicality is going to be a defining trait of this Celtics team. Everyone says they want to play harder and be tougher in October, but not every team backs it up. Boston seems to be backing it up. And more importantly, they're doing it on the defensive end. That's been the identity in the past when they've made deep playoff runs. The years when Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Robert Williams were anchoring the defense. Those were the years when Boston made teams uncomfortable. That's what they're trying to get back to. Even without Smart or Time Lord this year, the goal is still the same. Wear teams down, force mistakes, and make every possession a grind. The coaching staff has emphasized this from day one, and you can see it in the energy coming out of every practice report. Guys are gassed. They're leaving everything on the floor even before the season starts. And that's exactly what this team needs. Because if you look around the Eastern Conference, the margins are razor thin. Milwaukee added more firepower. Philly, depending on what happens with James Harden, still has elite talent. Miami's always a problem, no matter where they finish in the standings. So for the Celtics to separate themselves, it can't just be about offensive talent. It has to be about effort and execution on every play. That brings us back to Joe Mazzulla. Last season, he was figuring it out on the fly. This year, there's no more room for learning on the job. He has to show not just that he can coach stars, but that he can adapt, develop, and evolve with this group. That means knowing when to trust his bench, when to ride his vets, and how to manage minutes across a long season without burning guys out. It also means establishing an identity. Last year, Boston often looked like two different teams from night to night, some nights locked in, others coasting. That inconsistency was a major reason they didn't reach the finals. That can't happen again. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Rumors have been swirling all week, and now the whispers have become a thunderous roar. The Boston Celtics have reportedly finalized a blockbuster trade for Portland Trail Blazers guard ANFERNEE Simons. Sources close to the situation say the deal, still unofficial but all but done, is set to send shockwaves through the NBA landscape and could transform Boston's identity overnight. Simons, known for his scoring bursts and elite perimeter shooting, has steadily risen to prominence in Portland. His ability to create his own shot, stretch defenses, and make the high-pressure play has made him one of the league's most dynamic young talents. For Boston, already boasting a roster with championship ambitions, adding Simons could turn an already formidable attack into something nearly unstoppable. Imagine a backcourt where ball movement, spacing, and sheer scoring firepower converge. Opponents may soon have no answer. Sources hint that Boston's front office has been quietly negotiating for weeks, eyeing Simons as the final piece to elevate the team from strong contender to near favorite. Speculation is rampant about who might be included in the trade, though names are being tightly held under wraps. Fans are buzzing, social media is aflame, and analysts are scrambling to adjust projections. Some insiders suggest this move could ignite a chain reaction across the league, with other teams reshaping rosters in response. If the deal goes through as rumored, Boston's offensive schemes may pivot around Simons' ability to attack off the dribble, knock down deep threes, and finish in transition. The combination of established stars and a sharpshooter with flair could create matchups that few teams can survive. The Celtics' offense could become not just efficient but dazzling, a nightmare for any defense. As the league braces for official confirmation, one thing is clear: Boston is signaling that it's not just aiming for contention, it's aiming for dominance. The chatter is deafening, the excitement palpable, and the basketball world is holding its breath. Could ANFERNEE SIMONS be the spark that finally propels Boston over the championship hump? Rumors say yes, and for fans, the speculation alone is electric. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.